What's up, guys? Zero Die Trucker here, back with another video. As you can see, I have on my rain attire, and I'll show you guys why in a moment. But today is a Friday, and I am done driving for the day. So I'm parked at where I'm going to be hanging out for the weekend. I'm at a truck stop right now. The load that I have is going a long distance from where I am here. It's about 17 hours away. We're going to Texas, Midlothian, Texas, to be specific. And I've been there many times. And I'm sure if you are already a TMC driver or you're familiar with the Midlothian exit and you're a flatbedder, you know probably where I'm going to go after I deliver this load here to pick up some more steel, which is actually what we have on the trailer right now. It's actually beam steel. There's a couple of things I want to show you guys about the particular load that I have right now, among other things. So let's go ahead outside and check it out. All right, guys, it's raining pretty good out here, so I got the raincoat on. But I'll show you the load that I have right now. As you can see, it's some beam steel, and I'm gonna try to keep my camera angled down a little bit so these rain droplets don't keep on obstructing the lens. I don't want it to blur, but maybe if I cover it a little bit with my hand and shade it from the rain a little bit, maybe that'll help. But let's try this. Standard I-beam load, just chains and straps. I had the X chains on the fronts. As you can see here, I did a chain every 8 feet, and I put a strap every basically 4 feet after each chain. That way I cover both the weight requirements and the distance requirement. So I have a piece of securement every 4 feet. But I do believe with the weight of this, it weighs 41,000 and like 100 or something like that pounds, but I just rounded that up to 42,000, and that would have required just 7 chains to be good and secure. But I'm a fan of over securement, as I've told you guys before, so I laid it on the chains that it required and then some straps to cover the distance for the every 4 feet. So this thing is more than secure, not gonna move at all. But that's not what I was trying to show you guys about this load. It's something else. This load here has quite a bit of overhang, and as you guys can see, that's a good amount of distance from the back of the trailer all the way to right there. Now, this is not an oversized load. For it to be oversized, the amount of overhang from the rear needs to be 4 feet or more. Now this one is close. I measured it when the loader was putting it on the trailer, and I'll show you guys. And that's something you need to keep with you. You need to make sure that you have measuring tape on your truck. As a flatbedder, you must, just in case you have situations like this. But you want to take it, put the end right here so it has something to hold on to. I just measure it to the back where the load ends, and yeah, that measured out to a little bit more than 3 feet 8 inches. So this is a legal load for me to run without any oversized permits. Now, hold on, take a break for a lens wipe. Sorry about that, guys. The rain is getting me here, but if there had been anything hanging off of the sides, it doesn't matter if it had been just like 6 inches, 3 inches hanging off of the sides, I would have automatically made this an oversized load. But there's nothing hanging over the sides. It's just pretty long hanging off the back. Now you can have 4 feet hanging off of the back, and you can have 1 foot, by my understanding, hanging from the front. Now 1 foot over the front, and I'll show you guys that before I walk back here one more time and show you something else. If you have just 1 foot off of this, you don't have to worry about it, at least not with the setup that TMC has. And hopefully that sound of the generator from the truck behind me is not going to be too loud for you guys. But there's my 1 foot of overhang. It's actually 11 inches. I measured that out too. But as you can see, I can make all of my turns, and I don't have to worry about this load hitting the headache rack when I try to make a left or a right turn and gouging that out. So that part's fine. The reason why it can't be any more than 4 feet is because since I have a standard 48-foot trailer, I mean, I can't have any more than 53 feet of total trailer length and space. So the load, from the front of the load to the end of the load, it can't be more than 53 feet. So basically the size of a standard 53-foot trailer like this one right here. Take another break for a trailer wipe, guys. Bear with me. But yeah, so I got the 1 foot off the front and almost 4 feet off of the back. So that puts this right at the cusp of that 53 feet. It might be like 52 and a couple of inches or something like that, or maybe right on 53 with the total length of the trailer. Look at this though, guys. Not my load here, but this place that I'm at. This is a truck stop. Look at all this garbage. This is the other thing I was trying to tell you guys about. Now, the real travesty, aside from all this, take a look at this down here. These are some pallets, and all that down there is product. Those are boxes, and there's all kinds of prepackaged salad all over the place down there. Now, what's going on down here, or what I think happened, is there was some reefer hauler that had a load that was refused, or part of his load that was refused, because you can see these 4 skids. He got rid of it by dumping it all back here. There's the truck stop area all up there. He must have backed up right here, kicked it off, and went about his business. He's not the only one. There's all kinds of garbage all over this place from who knows where and who knows who did it. But man, I hate seeing stuff like this, man. I do, because it just looks bad, man. It makes truckers look bad. But it's not the first time I've seen or heard of something like this happening. I've definitely seen other areas where drivers have done this. Never seen anybody do it just straight on the ground like this. I've usually seen guys pull up to a dumpster somewhere, you know, at a store or whatever, and kick all their stuff off. But yeah. Don't be that kind of trucker, guys. And I know sometimes some guys might say that, you know, whoever his the company he's working for, they might have told him to just get rid of the stuff, and, you know, left him to his own devices and didn't ask any questions about how he got rid of it. But that's no good, guys. That's no good. Stuff like that contributes to the reason why truckers have hard times finding places to park that are not truck stops. You know, their places are concerned about truck drivers leaving places nasty or leaving messes and things like that. But that's enough of me standing on a soapbox on that. I just hate seeing that stuff, man. It's just so gross. Let's head back in the truck real quick. All right, guys, so like I was showing you out there, we have a pretty long set of I-beams, but definitely make sure you're covering yourself all the time when you're out here, because you never know what you might get. Even though on my load screen it said that the load I have right now is not an over-dimensional load, it's not an oversized. When it got put on the trailer, I was like, that looks kind of close. So with something like that, you know, you're really dependent on the loader. You know, the loader placed it on the trailer where he thought it was going to be good. So the overhang in the front and in the back is where he was placing it. So the tape measure that I had, I was able to check it myself and make sure that, you know, I wasn't going to be hanging off too much in the back and have a problem once I left that shipper. Because like I said, there's no over-dimensional paperwork for this load. And over-dimensional loads have a whole set of circumstances that you have to abide by when you're hauling it. You can't just drive wherever you want to. You got to drive a specific route, and you got to have permits to go where you're going, and you can only drive during certain times of the day, and it's a whole lot. So if you need that paperwork, you got to make sure you have it, or you got to, you know, get with your fleet manager and let them know, hey, you know, something's not right with this. But what I did with that one, I had to call safety just to make sure, because I knew that the max length of overhang in the back was 4 feet. I just wanted to make sure, because like it's been a while since I had to check in or ask about any of that stuff. So I wanted to just make sure what I was remembering was 100% accurate still. So it is 4 feet of overhang in the back. That's where oversized starts. So anything 4 feet or less, and I'm talking about measured down to like the 1/4 inch. Like if it had been like 4 feet and 1/4, you know, DOT can go ahead and hammer you for that, you know, if they catch you. So definitely make sure on that, and don't just trust what the loader is telling you when they're putting it on the trailer, or when, you know, they're saying it's good. The guy that loaded me didn't say anything like that, but just in case, always check and verify 100% for yourself. with a tape measure. Now this one is like 30 feet. I've never come into a situation where I had to measure 30 feet of a load. I've measured up like for the height to see, you know, if I've ever had a load that's been over 13.6. You want to make 100% sure that you know about that too, because you don't want to try to go under some bridge or overpass on the highway and you're too tall for that and you end up hitting the bridge. I've seen guys do that, unfortunately. I'm on my 34-hour reset, like I said, or it's beginning. With this load being a 17-hour drive to deliver, there's no on-site parking where I'm going in Texas. Texas is kind of iffy for finding parking if you don't get to an actual truck stop or a rest area. So I haven't quite trip planned where I'm going to stop or even when I'm going to leave. So I'll probably end up leaving early Sunday morning, just driving as far as I can. Even with that, I'll still probably have like 7 or 8 hours to drive to get rid of it. So I'm not really looking forward to that part. This load pays well, but you know, it's kind of gonna have my hours looking kind of strange on Monday. I won't have very many hours left, but I'll be bringing you guys along for the ride so you can see how that's all gonna go. I'm predicting that I'm probably gonna have like 4 or less hours by the time I deliver this stuff on Monday, but I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm gonna play it by, well, no, I'm not gonna play it by ear. I'll figure it out. I'll think about it during my 34-hour reset, and then I will execute that plan. But I'm gonna go ahead and rest now, guys. I'm gonna pick up with you guys on Sunday when we get ready to get out of here. See you in a few days, or more so, a day and a half. All right, guys, morning. It is Sunday now, and I've already been on the road for a few hours. I didn't leave as early as I originally wanted to, but I didn't really sleep too well Saturday night for whatever reason. So when it was early and I could have left, I didn't. You know, I figured it was a better idea for me to just be fully rested and, you know, get on the road after that versus trying to, you know, burn the candle at both ends and just get up and drive when I was still a little bit tired. So that's always the better option. It's better to have rest, especially when you're responsible for, you know, driving a big old monster like this with all this stuff. It's better to be fully alert, fully rested if you can be. But with this stuff here, this particular load, or this type of load, beam steel or metal pipe or anything like this, this is particularly dangerous, especially if you do not secure it properly in the front. You see how I have X chains over here. The X chains on the bottom reaching over to the top as well to keep that contained, because I have unfortunately seen more than one news story of drivers that had to haul something like this, and you know, they had to stop short. You know, somebody cut them off, or you know, whatever other reason, you might have to hit your brakes suddenly, and their loads were not secured as well as they needed to be in the front and broke loose, came through the headache rack and into the cab of the truck and took those drivers' lives. Like I said, I've heard that happening, seen it in the news more than once, and I do not want that to be me. So I took extra care, like I do with every load, but even more so with something like this, to make sure that this load does not come forward. Now that means using forward movement protection, but then also making sure that you're being cautious and even more alert when you're driving on the road. You know, you don't want to race a stoplight. You know, if you see that stale green light, you want to make sure that you are preparing your truck to stop, because you don't know for sure when it's going to change to yellow and then red, or how quickly it might do it. I know there's different formulas, and you know, sometimes the speed lights are calculated based off of the speed on the road that you're on and all that, but it's better safe than sorry, because I don't want this coming forward and ending my life prematurely. But I went ahead and used this felt pad right here between the chains, as you can see, so that way the chains aren't rubbing against each other, metal on metal. Keeps that a bit safer. And I also did a choke strap around the front and the very rear of the load. You know, it's just a choke strap like you would on any other metal load, but of course edge protectors, because the strap on the metal beam by itself will definitely cut through very easily with you driving down the highway. I already did my load checks on this, taking extra precautions, making sure that everything stays tight, and I already went around the trailer and tightened everything, or it was all stayed tight, but I put in a couple extra cranks on everything. I really tried to, with the really tight grind in there with that. But you can see here's the other choke strap in the rear. Now, something that I didn't mention on Friday when I was telling you guys about how the overhang was on this trailer or on this load is you want to make sure you're being mindful when you have something like this. When you go to park at a truck stop, if you're going to back into a space, you have to remember that you have this extra overhang. It's not just the back part of your trailer here that you can see in your side view mirrors. See, in my side view mirrors up there on the truck, I can't see where this is. This is all just me keeping in mind that I have, you know, almost 4 extra feet of space. So if you're going to be backing into a spot at a truck stop, you want to make sure that you get yourself lined into the spot, but keep in mind that when you are, you know, say making your curve in to turn backwards into the space, that you are being mindful that this extra end here does not take off the front bumper or smash up the grill of the truck next to you. And also, when you finally start backing into a space, you want to make sure that you get your truck into the space just a little bit, and you know, maybe when you're like halfway in the space or partially into the space, you get out, set your brakes, get out and look and see how close the back part of your load is to the trailer that's parked right behind you. Like if you're in one of those truck stops where your space is right here and then the other guy backs in right up to you like this, if there's already a truck there, because if you forget that you have this extra overhang here, you will back up into another truck's trailer and this metal will go right through somebody's set of swinging doors. Or, you know, Lord forbid, you know, you back up into like a tanker or something and you rupture the tank and whatever product is in it comes spilling out. That would be terrible, horrible. So you guys saw at the truck stop that I was at, I backed into a space that was in the very back of the truck stop, so there weren't any trucks that were going to be behind me. You know, I backed up over top of the grass. I did that on purpose for that specific reason. You know, I knew there wasn't going to be anybody behind me, but also I didn't want somebody to back up into me by chance, you know, them not paying attention. But that should not happen, because even if you have a load that has this overhang, you cannot back up farther than the ending portion of your space. So say like the line for the space, if it's like one of those back-to-back spaces, the line is like right here. Your load can't go back into any farther than that. You can't encroach the back end of your load over the parking space of the driver that will be backing up right behind you. Okay, so this would have to be right as far back as this load would go, with the line for the parking space was right here. Keep that in mind, because I'm sure that it happens a lot more than you would think. You know, somebody having a load with some overhang and forgetting about it, or not keeping an eye out for where their back end is going to be, and they back into somebody else and, you know, cause some damage. But I'm still 14 hours away from the Constantine in Texas. Needless to say, I'm not going to get there today. I've already been driving for 3 hours, so I'm going to drive for what, I have like 8 hours left on my clock, 8 hours and like a couple minutes. So I'm going to drive for the next 7 hours, maybe 7.5. But that is all dependent on the exact parking space that I'm going to be able to get. I have a couple of places picked out, but I'm going to reevaluate as I get closer, see what the availability is, and see if I need to stop a little bit sooner or drive a little bit farther. But I want to ideally get parked as early as I can today, so I can wake up as soon as my clock refreshes 10 hours from when I stop, and drive the rest of the way to Midlothian, Texas, because I'm going to have like 7 or 8 hours still to drive. So my 30-minute break is just about done here, so I'm going to go ahead and get back on the road, guys, and I'll check in with you in a bit. Okay guys, I just parked for the day. I'm at a rest area and I got here about 5 p.m. I drove my clock out for the most part. As you guys can see, got 48 minutes left. Now, when I was trip planning, I looked at 3 different spots that were right along the line. This was the first one that I got to. Now, there were a couple of pilots about 30 or 35 minutes down the road. Now, I'm not really a fan of driving my clock down to the very last minute. I don't do that. If I ever have gotten close to doing that, it's only been when I know 100% for a fact that I have parking waiting for me wherever I'm going. Like if I'm going home or if I'm going to a consignee that says that they have on-site parking. With it being as early as it is in the evening, it's a high likelihood that there were going to be parking spaces at the pilot that I saw, the pilots, because both of them had over 150 parking spaces. But the reason that I didn't go there is because when I was trip planning, I looked at Trucker Path, I looked at the reviews for those truck stops, and both of the reviews were saying, well, for both truck stops, I looked at multiple reviews for both truck stops, but the reviews had commonalities saying that the truck stops were dirty, you know, they were nasty or had rude staff, which the rude staff part I don't really mind as much because I don't really need to interact with anybody at the truck stop, you know, if I'm getting fuel or something like that. And if I'm just staying there to park overnight, the only thing I'll go inside for is to use the restroom or something like that, and I don't have to interact with any staff. So that part doesn't really mean too much for me for this specific type of thing. But the reason why I chose not to go is both of them were saying the same thing about the lots. Like drivers who left the reviews were saying that, you know, the place is kind of sketchy at night. Both pilots, because like I said, I looked at 2 different pilots and I was looking at the reviews, but one of them said somebody broke into their truck. Another one said, you know, somebody, you know, tried to get into a fight with them in the parking lot. You know, I guess some local that was, you know, lives around the area. I have no idea, but it's not worth all that to me. You know, I'll just drive the extra 30 minutes tomorrow because, well, I have 7 hours to go. But, you know, I'd rather drive the extra 30 minutes tomorrow and be able to sleep peacefully and not worry about anybody tampering with the truck or bothering me if I get out of the truck to go inside or anything like that. I want to try to get in a quick workout before I go to bed, and I'll catch you guys in the morning, early before the sun rises. But we'll get it done. We always do. All right, guys, good morning. It's early. Let's see. Just about 3:25 a.m. We've got 7 hours ahead of us, and I already prepared my breakfast and did the pre-trip. I'm just waiting for the full 10 minutes to lapse on my clock so I can get out of here. We have 7 hours ahead of us to go, which is not a problem. It's a full trip, but we'll get it done. This load does not have to be delivered until 2:30, so with that 7 hours in mind, we should get to the consignee right around 10:30, assuming that I do not take a 30-minute break, because depending on traffic, I may or may not have to do that. But if I do, it'll be fine. Like I said, 2:30 is the cutoff time, and we'll be there long before that. Oh, that's my alarm. Let me know it's time to go. But we're not gonna have a whole lot of time left over on our clock after we deliver this load, but we'll deal with that once we do. But my clock is going to cut off unless I do a split log today. My clock is going to be finished by 5:15 p.m. today. So I don't mind having an early end to my day, but we'll see what I end up doing as far as like the next pickup. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about it yet. I'm going to wait until that time actually gets close to make my predictions. Probably get a hold of my fleet manager and have a conversation with him and see what the most advantageous next step would be, because I don't want to be screwed over for the rest of the week. Like I said, I don't want to be chasing my clock, you know, with a route that's gonna require me to drive too far to pick it up and deliver it for tomorrow, and that whole song and dance that I told you guys about yesterday. But it's time to go. Let's get out of here. We've got a long trip. All right, guys, we made it here. It was around 11 a.m. when I got here. I did stop for fuel on the way, so we don't have to worry about that on our next pickup. I already got unloaded actually, because while I was here taking down my securements, the unloader, he's not out there anymore, but this is some of the stuff that I brought. But the unloader was telling me that his lunch break was about to start. So I had to put the afterburners on it and hurry and get all that securement off so he could unload me before he left, because I definitely did not want to sit here for like 30 minutes or an hour or however long his lunch was going to take and wait for him to come back out and unload me. So I didn't record any of that, but it's all right. We actually got our next dispatch, and I had to talk to the fleet manager. I actually had to talk to a stand-in because my fleet manager is off today. I think I might have mentioned earlier that I said I wanted to either get like a 2-day drive or something that was going to be a very short run. And after talking to the stand-in, you know, he was able to find me a short run because I only have 3 hours and 40 minutes left on my clock. Like I told you guys, I was going to have like slightly less than 4 hours. I knew it, but I ran straight here. Aside from my load checks, I did not take that 30-minute break before I got here. I didn't need to. I had 40 minutes left on my clock when I got here, and now I got the rest of my time because I've been sitting here for longer than 30 minutes. But we have a load of shingles, and that's good because shingles are very quick to secure, and it's only a 30-minute pickup from where we are, so I should have 3 hours left roughly on my clock. And I'm wanting to get loaded as quickly as I can because I can secure shingles very fast and get right back out on the road without having to take a split log to freeze my time. My only concern for this one is just making sure that I get picked up, loaded, and out of this area soon enough to find myself a secure parking place for the night, because it is a 378-mile bounce to deliver this stuff. It's going to Mississippi, which is what I need. I need to be heading back east because from where I currently am, Midlothian, Texas is roughly 17 or so hours from where I live. And I told you guys I'm going back home this weekend. So I'm headed in the right direction. Gonna be heading back east to deliver this stuff. And with it being Monday, they shouldn't have any trouble finding me freight to get me the rest of the way back to where I need to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and hurry up. I just didn't want to leave out of here without telling you guys what's going down. But we're gonna continue this video at least until I get parked today, so you guys see how all this goes, because I usually don't run this way. Having to run super early in the AM. I've done it before, but this is the first time I've made a video where you guys can see me having to pull something like that. It's a very special circumstance. I normally do not like running like that unless I'm trying to get home, you know, and I have the spare time to just drive like that, and it doesn't really matter. But during the work week, no, I prefer not to do that. But let's go ahead and drive, what is it, 30 miles to Irving, Texas. We're going up north. Let's get out of here. Okay, we're here at the shingle pickup. And let me tell you, getting into this place was an ordeal, for sure, man, for sure. As you can see, standing room only in this place. That is a row of 3 trucks, 2 rows ahead of me, and then the row I'm in, plus trucks that are up here getting loaded, guys that are over here getting secured. And you can see over that fence, there's a line of trucks out there on the street, which I was a part of not too long ago. There's like a dozen trucks out there on the road. Now at this place, man, they need way more space. They do not have anywhere near enough space here to have this volume of trucks coming here to pick up their freight, and then just like literally nothing. I had to circle the block. The road was so filled up I couldn't even stop and hang out in the line that they made out there. I had to circle the block once. When I came back around from circling the block, there was like 3 more trucks in the line than there were when I first got around there, man. So I wasn't about to circle the block again, you know, and have like 6 trucks ahead of me. I'll never get out of here. This place looks familiar to me. I think I've been here once before, but it must have been a really long time ago, because this setup looks very familiar, but I have not been here in quite some time. But as soon as I get loaded, things will be better. It'll be fast, because I can get a load of shingles secured in 25 minutes. I've timed myself before a couple of times. So as long as they put it on here, I can get out of here really quickly. Well, it looks like I have to check in. I think I have to walk up front and check in the office. I haven't done that yet. I thought they were gonna just load us bit by bit, but let me go in here and sign in and I'll get back with you guys. Okay, took care of the sign in. We're all good now. We just gotta wait our turn. It looks like the line has been moving at well, it's been moving, I'll say that. Looks like a couple of trucks have pulled forward from this middle lane here since I got here, so hopefully things keep moving quickly, because I don't think that I'll be able to pull off a 2-hour split log here with as jam-packed as this place is, with as many drivers that are still waiting outside the gate to get in. You know, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a, you know, hurry up, secure your stuff and get out of here kind of place. So I've already planned some parking places for the day. The closest one that I would be willing to go to right now, the TA, that's about 50 miles from here. It's got 300 spaces, so that's definitely gonna have some availability because it's only 2 o'clock right now. So I know for a fact there's gonna be a ton of empty spaces. With me having looks like a 6-hour and 40-minute drive to deliver this stuff, I'd like to drive more than 40 minutes, because that means I'll have to drive 6 hours to get rid of this stuff tomorrow if I do that. There's a rest area east from here. It's about 1.5 hours. Looking at Trucker Path, it says that there's only 12 spaces there. But again, it's early in the day. If I get done securing as quickly as I should, and if this line keeps on moving, it should still be pretty early in the day. When I get there, there should be some empty spaces, and you got to remember, when you're looking for parking, all you need is one space for yourself. And whether or not I choose to gamble on spots like that really just depends on the time of day. Like, if it's somewhere that does not have a lot of spaces, if it's early enough in the day, I'll go for it, because it's pretty likely that they'll still be open. If you're going to park before 5 p.m., you know, you should stand a good chance of getting parking just about anywhere. But right now we are just hanging out, and I have been awake. It's 2:30 a.m. guys. I'm not tired though, not tired at all. I slept some last night. I think I slept about 6 hours, but I'm sure once the dust settles and I'm parked for the day and I'm chilling out and relaxing, I will be right asleep. But with me still having a longer drive, whether I drive for 40 minutes or 1.5 hours, I'm still gonna have a decent amount of driving to do after my 10-hour reset. So what I'm going to do, and let me check here. It says that the place that I'm delivering to in Mississippi closes at 4 p.m. But let me see when they open. All right, it says that they open at 8 a.m. So what I'm going to do, when I take my 10-hour break, I'm going to set my alarm for me to get back out on the road to arrive at the consignee right at 8 a.m. Depending on what time I get out of here and get parked, that'll influence whatever time we get back out on the road in the morning. It should be early regardless of whatever time it is. That way I can at least, you know, get one of the morning loads when the load board is fresh and not be stuck with a leftover load. I won't have a lot of hours left on my clock. I'll have, like, you know, 6 or so hours, something like that, depending on how long I drive for this afternoon. But it'll put me in a better position than I'm in right now. Well, actually, I'm not in too bad of a position right now. Last week I was chasing my clock all week. That's how I got in the position with this Texas load that I brought down here. That worked out for me in the event of it paying a lot, but you know, it left me with next to no hours to start my week off, or my Monday off with, I should say. But I'm gonna go ahead and hang out here, wait till I get loaded, and we are gonna get out of here, guys, because I am looking forward to ending this work day. And as it stands, I have 2 hours and 44 minutes of drive time left on my clock. Plenty of time for me to do either of those parking plans for the day that I told you about. 40 minutes for one and 1.5 hours for the other, depending on how far I decide to go. And my duty clock is currently sitting at 3 hours and 9 minutes, but I am not doing a split log yet. And like I said, I don't think I'll be sitting here for long enough for a split log to start. But if I get within 30 minutes of having my split log be complete, I'm gonna make sure that it's completed before I leave here. I'll say that. Because I need to get all that time back just in case anything sticky happens when I get out on the road. You know, time is your friend. Having as much of it at your disposal as you can, especially when you're out here trucking and you're working on a timer, is critical. But I'll catch you guys in a little bit. All right, they just finished loading me and I'm about to go ahead and secure this stuff. We're about 30 minutes away from my split log being complete, oddly enough. But I'm gonna time myself doing this. We'll see if I can knock it out in 25 minutes or less, beat my record. Too tight. It's warm out here too. I need to lubricate this ratchet. This pin keeps on sticking now. A little rusty. As you can see, need to put some motor oil on here. It keeps on sticking when I try to put it through the head here. All right, just got done securing everything. Wasn't as fast as I was trying to be. I got delayed a little bit and I didn't freeze the timer, but we still got pretty close within the striking range. I said 25 minutes or less. And as you can see, 27 minutes, 33 seconds. I'll beat it next time. I want to get a 23 or 20 minute secure time on some shingles. One of these days I will. But we're done. And I want to try to go for that rest area that's an hour and a half away. Just because I don't want to have to drive for 6 hours and 40 minutes tomorrow. I want to shave as much of that time off as possible. I have 2 hours and 44 minutes because we just completed our split log, but there's not really any good truck stops or rest areas much farther than an hour and a half away that I'll be able to make it to with the amount of time that I have left comfortably. Like I told you guys before, I don't like to play with my clock, taking it all the way down to the last minute, because if your planned parking spot or area is not available to you and you have no time left on your clock, basically clock violation. So I don't play those games, but let's go ahead and get out of here. It's 4 o'clock right now, so I want to hurry and get as far away from this area as I can so I don't run into rush hour traffic before I get to that rest area. Let's go. Man, guys, as you could see, that traffic going east out of Dallas was just not good. I knew that was going to be the case, which is why I wanted to hurry and get away from the shipper as early and as quickly as I could. That long line of trucks that needed to be loaded ahead of me, you know, if it weren't for that, I think I could have got out of that shipper about an hour earlier. But that's trucking, guys. I wasn't able to make it all the way to the rest area because of that rush hour traffic. I lost basically an hour worth of time coming out of there. So I ended up stopping at the TA instead. And I could have made it to the rest area if I wanted to try to drive. I had enough time. I still have 48 minutes left on my clock, and the rest area is like the rest area is like 30 minutes away from this TA where I am, but I didn't want to drive and risk that rest area being filled up because there weren't a whole lot of spaces there. I think Trucker Path was saying there's about like 20 or 30 possibly, but you know, there was a discrepancy on there, so I wasn't quite sure. It's always better to err on the side of caution when it comes to trying to find a safe place to park at the end of the night. So it'll just be 30 extra minutes to drive in the morning. My clock's gonna refresh at 4:19, so it's almost gonna be like this morning. Gonna be waking up really early before the sun comes up, and I'll drive the remaining almost 6 hours to go deliver this stuff. And I should get there not too long after they open. They open at 8 a.m. I believe, so we'll do what we need to do, and we will move on to the next one and hopefully be on a better path excuse me, for tomorrow, and have a load where we can pick it up and deliver and have a full fresh clock on Wednesday. But at least we're moving in the right direction, because I'm going back home to North Carolina on Friday, and we're going east. The load I have is going to Mississippi. So just got to keep on going on I-20. Yeah, I-20 east. That'll get me through Georgia and all that, so it'll be fine. I got plenty of time to make it back home. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get myself ready to go to bed, because if you have forgotten, I woke up at 2:30 a.m. So I've been running and gunning since then, and it is currently 6:51, and I just shut down like 30 minutes ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. I don't feel tired yet, but I know it'll catch up to me if I don't get enough sleep and try to burn the candle early tomorrow morning. Phew, it's been a day, but that's life and that's trucking. I appreciate you guys all watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. Here, that trucker out.